Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel V. Hill, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel V. Hill.
It's Friday. I should definitely move up my microphone, and it'll sound a little bit better as I sing, It's Friday. What's up, Cecil Lammy? How are you, my friend?
I thought nobody liked that song.
You only like it on Fridays, okay? Otherwise, it annoys the hell out of everyone. But on a Friday, let's go. It's almost the weekend.
Yeah, here we go. Friday is what I say.
Woo! Same. Counting down the days because this weekend is massive for two reasons. You got the Rocky Mountain Showdown, which is huge. Can't wait for it to be up in FOCO. I'm pumped about it. And then you also got what we thought was going to be Russell Wilson coming down to play the Denver Broncos on Sunday. Most likely going to be Justin Fields, but essentially still a really good matchup for the Broncos and a tough one at that, Cease.
An incredibly tough match. Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I think, is what was Joe Lombardi said on Thursday. It might have been Vance Joseph. Like, it's going to be a black and blue game. They are going to beat you up. You had better beat them up. I talked to Adam Troutman about the physicality. Like, every game's physical, but these extra physical ones, there's a little extra something in the sauce. So, yeah, get ready for physical football on Sunday.
Which is so fun, right? Like, that's one of the reasons we all love the game of football is for that. And see, I was in the locker room on Thursday. You were in the locker room I was in the locker room on Wednesday. You were in the locker room on Thursday. And I thought that the locker room would be a little bit more down after the week one performance. Totally wrong on that front. It didn't feel like they were down at all. It actually felt that they were pissed off by their performance on Sunday against the Seahawks. And it was like, oh no, I remember this exact play. I remember all of these things. Did you have that exact same feeling on Thursday when you were in there?
1000%. And even the coordinators talked about that of like, hey, you know, we're right there and you fix this and you clean up this. Joe Lombardi kept saying over their skis because I asked him about Quinn Miners. Quinn Miners was really down on himself. We talked to Quinn Miners twice this week. And both times he was like, I was terrible. It's like, well, I didn't think Quinn was that bad. It wasn't a perfect game, to be sure. And Coach Lombardi talked about how guys a little bit amped up, maybe a little bit too, he said fast. That was the wrong word, but maybe playing a little bit too fast. You got to play within yourself, play within the structure, slow down, let the game come to you. And then hopefully in week 2 at home, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, the crowd starts to work for you, not against you like it did in Seattle. One of the biggest concerns that everybody's waiting to see is Devonta. It seems like that's Bo Nix's number one target, Cease, right now. That's his favorite guy, and he may not play. He hasn't practiced at all. We'll see what happens today on Friday, but he didn't practice on Thursday or Wednesday.
Yeah, ribs injuries comes down to pain tolerance. So you can wear a flak jacket. You can take an injection to feel less pain, but you're still going to feel pain in everything that you do with a ribs injury. It doesn't matter. You can tie your shoes. You can sit on the couch, like whatever you're doing, you're going to feel pain because ribs injuries are very, very painful. So we'll see what Friday's practice brings and the status of Devonta. But certainly that 8-catch performance, 8 targets, 8 catches, number 3 in NFL history. I think 11 was Kiki Cutie in his debut. 10 was Anquan Bolden in his debut. And then 8, there was a cluster of receivers tied at 8, including Demaryius Thomas in their rookie debut. First game, first time out, catching 8 passes. Doesn't happen that often. It did for Devonta.
No, the late, great Demaryius Thomas. May he rest in peace. Cease, if Devon's not out there, though, what does this mean for Bo Nix? Is it finally the game where Cortland Sutton better figure out whatever it is that has been going on? It feels like the chemistry and the connection's just not there with Bo Nix. Have you noticed anything? Unfortunately, because of the construction, a lot of people aren't out there for practice, and you only get a limited time anyways to be out there, so it's hard to compare, notes from each practice. But is this the game that Cortland Sutton needs to show up and be that guy?
Yeah, I mean, it is, but he's against Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
So
solid dude.
You're the CSU Rammy. You love the days of Joey Porter and Clark Hagen's out there running around for the Rams. Like, and now his son, Joey Porter Jr., is a baller at corner. Yeah. The Steelers no longer have corner problems. They've got 2 great corners, much like Seattle, where that's going to present problems. But hey, they didn't go to the middle of the field till 4th quarter last week. Hopefully that changes this week in terms of the tight ends, in terms of Greg Dulcich. So if Sutton is locked down by Joey Porter Jr., which he may be, and that chemistry problem I put firmly on Bo Nix. Bo Nix with those problems with his footwork, throwing flat-footed, the one that was way over Court's head. Like, Court's running the right routes. It's just Bo was doing non-Bo things. He does have his answers, so now the answers need to come onto the field. So is it Sutton? Yes, certainly he would be one. Josh Reynolds, don't drop any passes. And Mark Williams do a little bit more. Something I asked him on Thursday, and he said, I just got to stay patient. But you can tell he's chomping at the bit to do more offensively. You're going to need all hands on deck because I think this is a low-scoring game. So any one play, one Sutton play, one Mims play, this could be the difference maker.
Well, and everybody's been dogging on that it's going to be such a low-scoring game. The Steelers didn't score a touchdown in week 1. The Broncos had Bo Nix, but it took a long time for us to see any sort of action besides field goals or safeties for that matter. But everyone's dogging on it. And I kind of look at it, see, so like, yeah, they're not great offenses, don't get me wrong, but it's really going to be the battle of the defenses of who can show up more and force more turnovers, and that's who's going to win this game.
Yeah, pressure creates diamonds. And who is more comfortable? Is it Fields with all those starts? You know, perhaps it is because he's got the experience that Bo Nix does not have. But when I look at what they can just keep bringing at you in waves, everyone talks about TJ Watt, and he definitely has an Aaron Donald-like impact. Joe Lombardi said that. Alex Highsmith with that crazy spin chop move. He can get after the passer. Keanu Benton, their nose tackle from Wisconsin, I wanted the Broncos to get. He's awesome at getting interior pressure. Patrick Queen at the linebacker level. Then like I mentioned, Joey Porter Jr., Dante Jackson, a corner, Minka Fitzpatrick. I was talking to Steve Atwater about how, great Minka Fitzpatrick still is, even though he may not be quite the player that he used to be. Like, you've got talent at every single level. So that's something the Broncos are going to have to overcome. There's really only one way to do it, and I don't know if they are going to be able to do that.
It's going to be interesting, too. I mean, you have to clean up all of your mistakes. Baron Browning, you cannot jump off sides in such a crucial play. We got to clean up all of those things, too. But I really want to talk about real quick George Pickens. Did you see what he had to say about Pat Surtain?
What did he say?
Essentially that, like, he's matched up with Pat Surtain before. They played each other in college, both good players. But he goes on, quote unquote, just hope they have their plan correct. I don't really know or care what they're going to do. George Pickens talking a little bit of, strong talk, I would say, going up against probably the best corner, if not one of the best corners in the league right there.
Sure. And I would say this, like, just be careful, Pickens, be careful because your quarterback's somewhat limited. And you don't want to give any bulletin board material to a Pat Surtain. Not that he's super vociferous. He's not. He's very calm, very meditative in what he does. But he's also a type of guy, he's going to know. He's going to know you said that. So whereas that is news to me, I'm sure it's not news to Pat Surtain. And it's something he'll keep in the back of his mind.
Oh, I love it too. I love a little extra firepower when it's like, okay, let's see a one-on-one matchup then, George Pickens. Let's see how good you can be. See, so one of my predictions for this game is that they are going to loosen the leash a little bit on Justin Fields, right? Didn't play bad against the Falcons, so I feel like they're going to just loosen just a little bit. And I'm going to be curious to see if that means that they're going to let Justin run the offense a little bit more, and we're going to see more of a passing game. We know we're going to see him run because every single team stick with the run, but I'm kind of wondering how much passing we're going to see from Justin Fields.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine a whole lot there. Now, if they do, how involved is Pat Freiermuth? They do go 3 tight ends quite a bit. Hell, Darnell Washington's like an extra blocker, an extra tackle, basically, because he's 6'7", like he's huge target. So with Fields, it's like, okay, do they keep it simple? Let him have design runs. That's fine. And lots of Najee Harris, probably 20 carries for Najee Harris, 10, 15 carries for Justin Fields, less of Jalen Warren, less of Cordell Patterson. Patterson also going to be a receiver out of the backfield as well. But for me, it comes down to a little bit of Pickens and then maybe some Freiermuth mixed in, some tight ends, but they will essentially run like wishbone football if they have to with Justin Fields. The Broncos had better be ready for that. They'd better be ready for physicality. And I think also, even though I didn't get to ask Vance Joseph on Thursday, I believe, in my opinion, some coaches hate mush rush, but I think mush rush is what you do. You just rush upfield as far as the quarterback is deep and then collapse. You don't go around and cause any sort of rushing lanes that are open. So we'll see if mush rush is in their game plan on Sunday.
I like it for sure. When we look at week 1 against Seattle, I think one of the very obvious trends that everyone was kind of like, what's happening right here is the fact that we didn't see a whole lot of Javante Williams. And I've used the term, felt like he was in the doghouse a little bit. Obviously, with Audric Estime now on IR, Blake Watson, it opens up that conversation too, as if he's going to move up. But do you think we end up seeing more Javante, or do you think the tides are somewhat shifting to be more friendly towards Jaleel McLaughlin?
I think that it's going to be friendly to whoever produces. And if that's Blake Watson, then that's Blake Watson. I'm not predicting it, but Javante will have to get it done with better vision. And I don't think you can coach vision. I think Mace talked to Joe Lombardi about that on Thursday, but it's like vision is something that's instinctive, in my opinion. Maybe not necessarily taught. Coaches can disagree with that. That's fine. But like Javante, got to stop dancing. You're not a dancer. Yep. Jaleel's got to break some tackle. Like even the smallest of shoestrings, smallest of blade of grass will trip him up, and that just can't happen. It happens with him all the time. If it doesn't happen, then he'll get the ball more as a runner because he's a dangerous instant offense type of guy. Watson brings a little bit of the best. He's not power like Javante. He's not total speed, although he might be faster in a straight line than Jaleel. He doesn't have the quickness of Jaleel, but might be faster in a straight line. But, you know, more instinctive inside as a runner, brings that to the table. He might be the best all-purpose back the Broncos have. I've said that in May when they picked him up after the draft. Like, he's really good on all three downs and a converted receiver, so he can run routes. True. But it's further down the depth chart. I think they're going to try it with Javante. They're going to try it with Jaleel, pretty much 50-50, see which one works out. And if not, see what Blake Watson can do.
Did you see Blake in the locker room on Thursday?
No, it's unfortunate because, you know, I've talked to Blake since the Shrine Bowl. And so I kind of try to hunt him up in the locker room. And for 2 days, don't see him. Don't see him much in the locker room. His locker's by Bo, which also, you know, just mentally, I'm like, he gets to pick Bo Nix's brain all the time.
Yep.
Just put that in the back of your mind.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You always wonder what they're doing when they're not in the locker room. I know there's massages. There's all sorts of stuff they can be doing. Us. Yeah, but you're true. You're also like, maybe you're working out on the side field. Some of those guys stay out there a little bit longer. Maybe you're trying to get better. I was trying to think the positive. Some other good news that came out of Thursday, though, was Jonah Ellis was back to full participation in practice. See, how much has he impressed you coming out of the draft?
Yeah, and really doing things that I thought he could do and he didn't think he could do. Because after rookie minicamp, I was like, you have like 6 moves. And he's like, I got 3. And I was like, no, you don't. And I listed off his moves. And then lo and behold, we hear Vance Joseph talk about him like a week or two ago of like, he's got these moves. We haven't even taught him. Like, yeah, he does. And he knows how to stack them. So you like to see that from that young man. Plays with his hair on fire. Always a hustle machine. High motor player with high effort. I'm old enough to have covered his dad the 1 year for the Broncos.
Okay, I need you to fill people in. For the younger generation, give me some info on his dad, because everybody is talking about those two.
Yeah, Luther was and he was a chaplain for the team for Super Bowl 50, but Luther Ellis was more of a defensive line, you know, strong, big man, but was also one of those hustle players that just showed up with his lunch pail and his hard hat, and he went to work, nothing flashy. Jonah's got flash, and Jonah's got multiple moves, plus that work ethic that he learned from his pops. So it's good to see out there, and nice as a rotational player. You don't know if you're going to keep Baron Browning after this year. You don't know if you're going to keep Jonathan Cooper, although I hope they keep Cooper. Yeah, okay.
You better keep Cooper.
Exactly. And you know, let's see the future of this team, but that future includes a lot of Jonah Ellis.
Listen, if you don't keep Cooper, George Payton needs to be fired. There's been lots of reasons, and I think things have gotten better, so I don't want to harp on him too much. But sure. Jonathan Cooper has proven everything thus far, and yes, it's only 1 week in the season, but he is a dog. Watching his tape has been so fun to watch him. Like, and the amount of times, too, that he's involved in the pressure after getting after the quarterback, even if it's not him who ends up dealing it, incredible. I'm bowing down to Jonathan Cooper already, and I hope that continues. But yeah, Jonah Ellis, definitely. It's interesting watching him be a rookie, and he doesn't feel like a rookie, though. I think that's one of the kind of cool parts about it.
Well, and I love Coop. I love talking to Coop. And then I will say this, Rachel, I haven't ever told you this before. But I think Coop opens up to you like his like your Barbara Walters, right? Like he'll tell you some stuff. The stuff that you and him have talked about is like really impactful because he gives you some good stuff because he just says some good stuff.
Yeah, he does. He's cool. I've enjoyed all the conversations I've had with him. He seems very real. There's one thing, and I feel like for a lot of fans too, the second you turn on the camera, it's a whole different guy that comes to you. They go through so much media training. So when the cameras are off and you're talking to him just ball hand in hand, the guys really do open up and you start to see a different side. So we always try and have those conversations without the camera in their faces, just to sit down. So I've had a few conversations with Jonathan Cooper. He is the DAWG dog. So much fun, and I'm rooting for him every single week. When you look at the Steelers, Cecil, what's the number one thing? You can't tell me TJ Watt. You can't tell me Cam Hayward. You can't tell me any of that kind of stuff. What's the number one thing that you're worried about when it comes to the Steelers?
I'm worried about you getting outcoached.
No, don't say
Sean
that.
Payton didn't have a good game against Mike McDonald, against a rookie. He didn't have a good plan. And I'll go back to it, and I may be totally wrong, and I could just totally be wrong. That's fine. But you don't go against Seattle's corners. You go against the middle of the field, and they didn't do that. Greg Dulcich didn't have a target till the fourth quarter. That's just wrong. Like, that's wrong-headed. Oh, we can't move the chains. Well, maybe if you called some better plays. Yeah. So I don't think that Sean Payton's offense is antiquated. I know James Marilat has said that. I think good old Unk, good old Club Shay Shay had said that, amongst other things. But like, I don't think it's antiquated at all. Look at Detroit. Detroit runs a pretty good job of running the Sean Payton offense with Dan Campbell. So like, run it right, call it right though. Cause Mike Tomlin's you are not going to get poor coaching from Mike Tomlin. Yeah. That's for sure.
That's 100% true. And he's honestly stuck with a lot of the same game plans for all of his years. So it will be interesting. A lot of people are starting to question Sean Payton, and it's really interesting to kind of see what's happening.
It's weird.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, right. He's been this guru for so long. And now all of a sudden it's like, can he not adapt to the quote unquote new NFL? Are we not able to do that? Are we too stuck in our ways with Drew Brees and what the NFL looked like back then? It's fascinating to watch the amount of people who are now turning on Sean Payton.
Well, and it's fascinating to think that he ushered the era in.
I know.
Drew Brees had multiple 5,000-yard passing seasons. Peyton Manning had one. Dan Marino had one. Marino had it in 84, and then it didn't happen until Brees did it. Yeah. Like 5,000 yards was not a thing at all. Yep. Marino did it once in 84, and then it went forever until Drew Brees did it. And then Drew Brees kept doing it. So this new era, pass happy era, was ushered in by Sean Payton. And now people are saying it's antiquated. That doesn't, even Shannon, and God bless Shannon Sharp, but I'm going to disagree with him if he's saying Sean Payton's offense is behind the times.
Interesting. Well, we're going to find out, right? Can't start the season 0-2 and still have playoff dreams looming in the future. Cecil Lammy, I appreciate you as always. Best of weekends. Your post-game shows are absolutely kicking butt. Continue it. Any fun stuff? Last weekend you were up in Blackhawk. What are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend, I have no idea. Probably hunting comic books on Saturday. Amazing. And then Sunday getting ready for this Broncos game.
You have to tell me you're going to tune into the Rocky Mountain Showdown, at least for a little bit. Cecil Lammy.
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Okay,
are they going to do it? Is CSU going to do it? Are they going to win?
This has to be the year that they do it. I mean, first of all, CU's without Shiloh Sanders, and then they're also without their star running back. So it's like, okay, well, now all you have to do is put pressure on Shedeur. So please tell me you can. They're talking a load of crap up there, too, at FOCO. You got to trash talk. You got to follow up and hopefully get a win. So I'll be on the sidelines for the game. I'm pumped for it, but I hope this is the year.
And what's the turnout like? Since it's in Fort Collins, and even Jay Norvell talked about that. Like, usually it's a mile higher in Boulder, but it's at the new stadium. So is the turnout going to be good?
I think so, and I think Boulder fans are going to travel too. It's not that far of a drive from Boulder and FOCO. It's pretty easy. I'm sure they're going to bust some people up. Coach Prime will say, "Come on up, everybody," and we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. A good weekend of football for sure.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, Fry, yay to everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us, spending a little bit of love, sharing your comments. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you on Monday, hopefully talking about the Broncos' first win. Bye, everybody.